If you are an Aries rising, I want you to know one thing right now. The version of you that enters 2026 is not the version that leaves it. This is a year of radical reorientation. Let's talk about why. This is the 2026 full year forecast for Aries Rising. In Astro Fusion Lab, we read from the rising sign perspective because it shows how astrology lands in real life through relationships, work, money decisions, and the internal response to all of it. This is a collective forecast. Also, exact times can vary a bit by location and time zone, so use the dates as anchors. And make sure you stick around until the end. I'm going to share a specific timing technique that will tell you exactly which part of this forecast matters most for your specific age. For Aries Rising, 2026 is an initiatory year. This is a year of identity disruption, nervous system truth, and a radical reorientation of self. Old labels, roles, and self-definitions start to crack. Not as a loss, but as a necessary liberation. And the reason it feels so personal is simple. The big transits are hitting the part of the chart that describes you, your body, your energy, your confidence, your direction. You're not just changing what you do, you're changing what you're willing to be. This isn't a comfortable year, but it is a truthful one. And the more you stop performing strength and start living from clarity, the more powerful this year becomes. As an Aries rising, your chart ruler is Mars, and Mars is in domicile in Aries. So when Mars is strong, you're usually strongest. Clear, direct, decisive. You don't need a complicated strategy when your will is clean. You just need to move. And a practical note for 2026, Mars does not go retrograde this year. That usually means fewer forced pauses and more forward motion. So the way you act this year matters even more, because momentum builds quickly. Your choices compound. Now, modernly, Aries also carries a Pluto undertone, not as the ruler, but as a psychological layer. Power, intensity, and no more pretending. So when power dynamics show up this year, don't treat it as drama, treat it as data. Here are a few Mars timing windows to watch. These are your action checkpoints for the year. It starts early. On January 27th, Mars conjoins Pluto in Aquarius. For you, this hits the social sphere, alliances, groups, networks, and it can expose power dynamics fast. You may realize who's actually aligned with you and who's just orbiting your energy. It's intense, but it's clarifying. Use it to cut through posturing and get honest about where your time and your will are going. Then, on April 9th, Mars enters Aries. Your ruler comes home. This is a natural reboot for Aries rising. Motivation rises, confidence returns, and your instincts become sharper. If you felt scattered, this is where you start to feel like yourself again. On April 19th, Mars conjoins Saturn in Aries. This is the discipline moment. It can feel like effort, pressure, or responsibility, but it's also where you can build something real. Think fewer promises, more structure. This is one of those dates where the work you do actually sticks. Then, on July 4th, Mars conjoins Uranus at 4 degrees Gemini. This is fast, reactive, volatile energy. Great for breakthroughs, bad for impulsive decisions, arguments, or risky moves. If you want to pivot mentally, learn a new skill, rebrand your messaging, or make a sharp change in how you communicate, this is electric. Just don't scorch the earth in the process. And on November 16th, Mars conjoins Jupiter in Leo. Big fire, big confidence, big appetite. This can be creative and romantic, and it can also lead to overextension. If you're launching something, performing, publishing, or taking a bold step, this can be a strong push. Just make sure your foundations are solid first. If you use Mars well this year, the theme is simple. Fewer reactive moves, more intentional ones. and you'll be amazed at how quickly your life starts to respond. Now we get to the headline transit for Aries rising in 2026. Saturn and Neptune entering Aries and activating your first house, the helm, your identity, body, vitality, and the way you steer your life. Here are the key timing anchors. Neptune enters Aries on January 26th at the very first degree. Saturn enters Aries on February 13th, and then they meet, Saturn conjunct Neptune on February 20th. In your first house, this is an identity reset. Neptune dissolves old identity stories. It can soften what's rigid, break the spell of old labels, and expose the parts of you that were living on autopilot. But it can also bring fog if you don't have boundaries. Like, you're not sure who you are anymore, or you're more affected by your environment than usual. Saturn demands structure. It asks you to build a self you can actually maintain. Health, discipline, boundaries, simplicity. And because Saturn is in fall in Aries, that part can feel uncomfortable at first, like patience is harder, or like you're building something without instant reward. But that's not failure, that's training. This transit often asks questions like, who am I when I'm not performing strength? What am I responsible for now? What needs to be simplified so I can be consistent? So, late January through February is a major initiation window for Aries rising. If you want to set a theme for the year, health, identity, personal discipline, a rebrand, this is where the new cycle signal is loud. The second major shift of the year is Uranus entering Gemini. On April 25th, Uranus leaves Taurus and enters Gemini. But before we look at where Uranus is going, we have to celebrate what it's leaving. For the last 7 years, Uranus has been in your second house of money, often making your income feel like a roller coaster, feast or famine, sudden wins and sudden expenses. As it leaves this sector in April, that financial volatility finally calms down, and you get the chance to build steady, predictable wealth again. Now, for Aries rising, that activates your third house, traditionally called the goddess, and it's also where the moon has its joy. Daily movement, skills, communication, learning, your environment, siblings, and the patterns of your mind. Uranus in the third can feel like a mental upgrade. You may change how you think, how you learn, and how you communicate. You might suddenly crave new skills, new tools, new systems, and you might get bored quickly with anything that feels outdated or repetitive. This is also a transit that can reshape your day-to-day life. You may shift your schedule, your routines, your commute, or the way you organize your weeks. And because it's Gemini, it tends to move fast. It rewards experimentation and flexibility. So for Aries rising, 2026 is a strong year to modernize your voice. Writing, speaking, teaching, content, branding, tech, learning. Just don't try to overhaul everything at once. Uranus works best when you iterate. Now let's talk eclipses, because this is where the year tends to course correct you. First, the Aquarius and Leo eclipses. The solar eclipse in Aquarius happens on February 17th at 29 degrees, and the solar eclipse in Leo happens on August 12th at 20 degrees. For Aries rising, Aquarius is your 11th house, traditionally called good spirit, where Jupiter rejoices. Friends, alliances, patrons, community support, and long-range goals. Leo is your 5th house, traditionally called good fortune, where Venus rejoices. Pleasure, creativity, romance, children, play, desire. This is one of the best axes for answering the love and creativity questions without forcing prediction. Your romantic life tends to improve when your social ecosystem is aligned. If you keep orbiting spaces that don't fit you anymore, connection can feel off. When you're in the right rooms, love becomes simpler. And this is also a make something year. The 5th and 11th together ask, what do you create and who are you creating it with or for? Second, the Virgo and Pisces eclipses. The lunar eclipse in Virgo happens on March 3rd at 13 degrees, and the lunar eclipse in Pisces happens on August 28th at 5 degrees. For Aries rising, Virgo is your 6th house, traditionally called bad fortune, Work, illness, exhaustion, and the obligations of daily life. Pisces is your 12th house, traditionally called bad spirit, isolation, hidden strain, self-undoing patterns, and the things that happen behind the scenes. And the traditional joys matter here. In the 6th, Mars has its joy, because Mars does well when it has a task and a problem to solve. In the 12th, Saturn has its joy, because Saturn can endure solitude and build resilience there. So this eclipse axis doesn't just talk about burnout, it talks about mastery. It asks you to handle the daily life with skill and to build real recovery, not just collapse. If you're looking for the most practical advice in the whole forecast, it's this. Your success this year depends on your routines. Not because you're weak, but because the year asks a lot of your identity, and the body has to support it. On August 18th, 2026, the lunar nodes change signs. The North Node leaves Pisces and enters Aquarius, and the South Node leaves Virgo and enters Leo. For Aries Rising, that's a shift into your 11th and 5th houses. So, after mid-August, growth moves through community, friends, allies, long-term goals, and the rooms you choose to belong to. And at the same time, you start releasing old patterns around needing validation through attention, performance, or proving yourself creatively. It's not stop shining. It's more like stop performing. Create from fulfillment, not from approval. And build a future with people who actually support the real you. Pluto continues moving through Aquarius, and for Aries Rising, that's your 11th house. Friends, alliances, patrons, community, and long-range goals. This is a long transit, so it's not a one-year story. But in 2026, you can feel what it's doing. It's transforming your relationship with groups, networks, and the people you tie your future to. Pluto in the 11th can look like fewer friendships, but deeper ones. It can bring power dynamics into the light. It can expose who's genuinely aligned with you and who's attached to a version of you that's no longer real. It can also intensify your long-term goals. You may find yourself taking your future more seriously, not in an anxious way, but in a focused way. It's less who likes me and more who's building with me. So for Aries Rising, 2026 is a year to be selective. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, and the right community changes everything. Jupiter is a major supporting co-star in 2026, and for Aries Rising, it helps answer the question people always ask: when does life start to feel more open? Jupiter starts the year in Cancer, where it is exalted, so Jupiter tends to work well there. For Aries Rising, Cancer is your 4th house, home, family, roots, emotional security, and the foundation underneath everything else. So early 2026 can support stabilizing your base, home improvements, family support, emotional grounding, or simply creating a stronger inner foundation that makes everything else easier to handle. It's not always flashy, but it's real. Then, on June 30th, Jupiter enters Leo, moving into your 5th house: creativity, romance, pleasure, children, and the parts of life that remind you why you're here. This is where the "will things get better" question gets answered in a grounded way. Usually, things start to feel better when your foundations are strong enough to support joy. When home and emotional security are handled, you have more room for love, creativity, and enjoyment. Watch for mid-July. Around July 20th, Jupiter in your sector of joy opposes Pluto in your sector of community. This is a tension point between what I want and what the group thinks. You might find that your new romance or creative direction ruffles some feathers in your network. Choose the joy anyway. So, the pattern is simple. Stabilize first, then expand into joy. Late in the year, Venus goes retrograde, and for Aries Rising, this becomes a relationship and money review that gets very real, very fast. Venus stations retrograde on October 3rd at 8 degrees Scorpio, and then Venus stations direct on November 13th at 23 degrees Libra. For Aries rising, Scorpio is your 8th house. Shared money, debts, taxes, inheritances, intimacy, and power dynamics in close relationships. Libra is your 7th house. Partners, contracts, committed relationships, and open rivals. A dignity note that matters. Venus in Scorpio is traditionally in detriment, so the retrograde phase can feel emotionally complicated. Desires intensify. Trust questions get louder. Money and love can get tangled. It's not bad, but it tends to reveal what's been unspoken. Then, when Venus turns direct in Libra, where Venus is in domicile, things usually get clearer and more balanced. This is a better window for renegotiation, clean agreements, and relationship conversations that actually lead somewhere. So for Aries rising, this fall season isn't just about romance, it's about fairness. What's mutual? What's shared? What's owed? And are the terms of your relationships, emotional and financial, actually sustainable? Before we close, I want to add one traditional timing technique that personalizes the year: annual profections. Each year of life activates a house. That house becomes the main topic of the year, and its ruler becomes your Time Lord, the planet that helps tell the story of how the year unfolds. And profections are counted from your birthday to your next birthday. For Aries rising, here's the projection maps. Find your age. How to use this. If your profection house lines up with the loud themes in the forecast, especially the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 11th, those topics tend to feel more personal, and timing tends to show up more clearly. To pull it all together, 2026 is a year where identity, discipline, and direction all evolve at the same time. Late January through February sets the tone as Neptune and Saturn enter Aries and activate your 1st house, initiating a personal reset around who you are, how you lead, and what you're ready to embody. Late April brings Uranus into your 3rd, updating your mindset, your daily rhythm, and the way you learn and communicate. The Eclipses and the Nodal Shift activate the 5th and 11th houses, joy and community, asking you to create from fulfillment and choose aligned networks. Pluto continues deep transformation in your 11th house, reshaping friendships, alliances, and long-term goals. Jupiter supports stronger foundations early in the year through home and emotional security, and then expands joy, creativity, and romance after June 30. And Venus retrograde in the fall reviews trust, shared resources, and relationship agreements, helping you choose fairness over intensity. If you keep it simple, build real routines, be selective about your people, and make your moves on purpose instead of on impulse. This has been your 2026 full-year forecast for Aries Rising from Astro Fusion Lab, where ancient astrology meets modern psychological insight. Each month, we'll come back to these themes and track how they unfold in real time.